Welcome to Deep Look. We are live every single week, Tuesday, noon Eastern. I'm the editor, Charlie Eisenhood. Joining me, as always, Ulti-Rolled senior editor Keith Raynor. And we've got a very special guest this week, Danie Proby, longtime Team Canada coach, coached the U24 mixed team this summer in Spain, coached the WUC mixed team last August and September in Australia. She's also a founder of Elevate Ultimate in Vancouver and is commentating with Ulti World this year at the Club National Championships. Danie, welcome.
Thanks for having me. I'm very, very excited and a little nervous for what's coming next, but it's going to be very fun.
Honestly, this is a whole new ball game. Fantasy drafting with budgets and player pricing. It's all happening today. We're doing things a little differently than you can do on your own at fantasyfrisbee.com because we're going to do snake draft and not just solely looking at prices. So we will get into all of that in a little bit. I hope everybody is having a great October, feeling the fall vibes, pumpkin spice lattes, and all that good stuff. Keith, it's time for our trivia question of the week.
I've been feeling, Charlie, is been feeling that vaccine got me down bad yesterday, and I'm still feeling the effects today, man. It's
pumpkin, spooky ghosts, vaccines in the arm.
That's that. There you go. It's fall. If you're a parent, you got to get the flu shot. It's time for immunizations. But on to our trivia question of the week. We are, as Charlie mentioned, we're going to be drafting on fantasyfrisbee.com. They ran events for college nationals, club nationals last year, WUL, UFA, PUL, a bunch of different leagues and stuff this year. So as we get ready for club nationals and doing our draft for this year's club nationals, I want to ask, who do you think was the highest scoring player? Who had the best stat line at club nationals last year? What do you think?
I will say I have a guess. We'll let everybody think about their answers while you tell us about Breakmark. And Danie, I'm going to put you on the spot to make the first guess here. So think about it while Keith tells us about Breakmark.
Yeah, our friends over at Breakmark celebrating their 20th anniversary. They've been doing giveaways on Instagram every Friday. So you got to make sure that you're following them on Instagram if you want to get access to all the free good stuff. But even if you can't get the free stuff, you can get even lower prices on a bunch of their core sublimated items. They've got shorts, sublimated shorts for $30, short sleeves and reversibles. Either of those are $35, and those are subbed gear. It's not just a screen print or whatever. You're going to get the full sublimation on those, and you still get the same great quality and customer service you've come to know from Breakmark that they have perfected over the last 20 years. So make sure to jump on that and visit our friends over at Breakmark.
All right, Danie, It's time.
We get to get our revenge for
fantasy
for the Canada quiz we took many years ago.
Oh my God, that was brutal. Apologies for that, and apologies for your education system not telling you anything about Canada. But I think that I'm going to go against my Canadian blood and pick a Team USA person. This person just seems to kind of always consistently year over year just rack up points, blocks, doesn't turn it over very much, scores goals, throws hucks, and that's Kayla Helton. I think a safe pick, but maybe wrong.
That's a good guess.
It is a good guess. Not it. Charlie, what are you thinking?
I'm not going to lie. I don't know for sure this is the right answer, but I already would have suspected this anyway. And when I was looking at prices of players, I saw that this player was at or near the top in the mixed division. I'm going to guess Nathan Champeau. No.
A good guess as well. Champeau scored very well in the mixed division. Kayla Helton was third in the women's division. So you were very close, Danie. Champeau, I believe, was the top mixed division scorer as well. So I see where you're getting that, Charlie. But the actual answer, you veered away from it, Danie, getting away from the Canadian. It was with an incredible stat line. I'm going to read you the stat line, then give the player. 15 goals, 14 assists, 10 turnovers, or 10 blocks, excuse me, and 7 turns. 7 turns, a critical number. Most players are
10
getting
blocks?
10 blocks. That's a big number. 7 turnovers. That's Sarah Bear Jacobson from Sixers,
Wow.
the top scorer last year, and that's a pretty impressive fantasy line for a captain.
I didn't want to be too much of a homer, but Bear is pretty good. So I think only 7 turnovers is also a really strong stat line for somebody who produces and is as aggressive offensively as Bear is. So that's incredible.
How do you like Sixers' chances this year, Danie?
That's another great question. I got a lot of homies on that team. I think just having Kimura back is going to help a lot. Obviously, losing Britt is pretty devastating, but I wouldn't be like shocked if they made a nice run, potentially scratching it at semis. I would expect to see them in quarters, but I could just be, again, being a homer, and I can't help it.
Well, let me give you a chance to be a homer. I mean, the haters were out for Canada after international performances.
Sure were.
The past couple tournaments, and it has been a big year, right? You took a team to the final, obviously the final at the World Games. I mean, what's the Canadian pride feeling like right now? Are you throwing it in everybody's face?
It is interesting to listen to the podcasts pre-World Games or pre-London Invite even to post. Everyone's kind of back on the Canada bandwagon. It's not really a bandwagon, but it is nice. It feels good, but I feel like other countries just keep catching up and are getting scarier and scarier, and seeing how well China did at World Games and how good China was at U24s. We can't rest. We got to keep pushing. And I think we're investing a lot in mixed. It feels like we've medaled, or we've become second in mixed last 3 years in 3 different Worlds events. So I think that's kind of like the way to go potentially. But yeah, I feel happy, I feel proud, but never satisfied, obviously.
Keith was a genuine hater. I was a Canadian believer pre-World Games. I didn't have them going all the way to the finals and having the best offense and looking like they should have won the tournament, but I did have them medaling. So at least we'll take a
Keith
small
loves
victory
Canadian
lap.
snacks, though.
That's true. Keith, what's your number one Canadian snack?
I love a good treat. Like that's just how it is. I don't know.
It's an easy answer for me.
I mean, I got to go to like the baked goods. Like that's where I'm at. You know, I'm down with like the beaver tails and stuff. You know.
Ah.
Give me that coffee crisp.
Okay.
The bag of coffee crisp like bites. That's probably the best thing I've had from Canada so far.
I'm taking notes.
I got one more potentially pro Canada question for you, because recently in our Discord, I know this is away from club nationals, but the Carleton Syzygy roster was announced for this coming college season. Obviously, a lot of hype after their run to the finals last year, and adding Chloe Hakimi this year. But the team that won the title, UBC, we haven't seen their roster yet, but the rumors are flying. Right now, if you had to pick, you taking Carleton or UBC to win next year?
Every single year I say UBC, and it worked out for me last year. So I think that they just have too many of their main players back, and so many big producers on their D line were like first years, or I guess what do you say in the US? Not
rookies.
The name for a first year. Well, like in college,
freshman.
But freshmen. Yeah. And so I think that like they graduated, of course, some big players like Mew is a big one, but they have their same coaching staff. They're going to be kind of continuing to build on everything they did last year. So I have full faith that they can make the two-peat.
Well, before we get to our fantasy draft, can you just give listeners a little bit of a background on like your playing history and your coaching background? I gave a little bit off the top, but a summary so people know that you've got the bona fides here.
Gosh, I don't know about that. I started playing Ultimate in college at UVic and became obsessed with it pretty quick. I played there for 5 years, captained basically all of those years as well. We went from being like unranked to making it to nationals in my 5th year, which was really exciting. And then I ended up moving to the mainland and played for Traffic for a couple years, tore my ACL, played for some other teams, came back to Traffic after the pandemic and played for another 3 years, and played Team Canada Beach on the mixed beach team, and then played Masters last year. Made Team Canada Beach again this year, but I won't be going. Spoiler alert. And then started coaching high school, then junior club, and then working with some adult teams here and there. Shout out AFC Rumble, the open team out of Edmonton here, which is where I'm currently living. And then coached U20 women's, a couple U24 mixed teams, and then WUC, which was very, very exciting. I think U24 is the thing that has my heart. I think coaching the college level is like that age group of athlete is super exciting. Keith, I think you know that. They're just like goofy, funny. They kind of got their stuff together a little bit, but they're still like young and just excited by everything. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful energy to be around.
Love it. I love that age group for sure. And I definitely the age group that I've coached most of my career with, and with good reason. I hope to one day maybe see you at the U24 championships.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's take a look at the rules for our fantasy draft. This is, again, you can play yourself at fantasyfrisbee.com, and they've got the prices all assigned out. You can make a league. It's super easy. I already made my own little mini test league. Not a problem at all. So here's the deal. We're going to be drafting 7 players. We have a $70 budget. Players are priced according basically to their production in the 2024 season. So there's definitely some opportunities to find some inefficiencies in the market. We're going to have to pick players into various positions: a captain, 2 cutters, 2 defenders, and 2 handlers. The point assignments, which I will not go into great detail on, vary across those levels. So the captain gets basically triple points on everything, but that also means they get triple points on turnovers. Blocks are always weighted at 3x at a minimum. So they're generally blocks are very good, even for players that you assign as handlers or cutters. Defenders get a 9x on their blocks, and so that's the basic idea, right? Cutters get more points for goals, handlers get more points for assists, defenders get more points for blocks, and captains get bonused everywhere. So that's how it's going to work. We have our budgets. You can go to fantasyfrisbee.com right now and take a look at the pricing of the players if you make your own little mini league. And we'll do our best to kind of share those as we go, though we're not going to fully. I think we may do some screen sharing here and there to kind of show prices as we go. So go ahead, Keith.
I believe you can play without the budget if you prefer. If you and your friends or your team, your group me, your Discord, whatever wants to do it, you can. Fantasy Frisbee also launching their bracket leagues this year. So if you want to make picks and just see who can pick the best bracket, March Madness style, you get the chance to do that as well. I'll also note that we're going to have 3 Deep Look leagues. Those are linked in the description. And I'm going to go out. Charlie doesn't even know this. I'm going to give whoever wins each of those Deep Look leagues, one for each division. I'm going to give them a free Ulti World shirt. So prizes on the line. Danie, you can't win. I'm sorry.
I need an Ulti World shirt, though.
We'll get you hooked up. Don't worry.
I think Keith's got one coming for you at Nationals. All right. Any questions? We are doing snake draft. You know, of course, the way you run your own leagues is up to you. You can also just have people pick their lineups however they want, kind of like DFS style. But we're gonna snake draft. So once a player's picked, they're off the board, and we're gonna begin in the women's division. And the draft order predetermined before we started today is going to be Danie, Keith, and then me. So Danie, you have the first overall pick in the women's division. The most expensive player, as you might expect, is Sarah Jacobson, $24. Jordan Sorensen from Grit is $23. Cami Groom, $22. Kayla Helton, $22, and then on from there. So that gives you a sense of kind of the most expensive players. Danie, what are you thinking?
Well, first of all, when I was initially building out my teams, I thought I was going to get away with a sneaky one because Cami Groom was only $3 for a little while. And then I refreshed today, and then she obviously shot back up to 22. So I'm curious about everyone's strategies, but I'm going to start with Gina Cartagena as a handler for my women's team.
Oh, and that's another question I
think,
have really quickly about rules, Keith. Sorry, Danie. Do we have to pick
No
our
problem.
categories immediately upon the draft?
I think you can draft your players and pick them after. I don't see any reason you can't change your roster after shift around positions. I think that's fine.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right.
All right. So, Danie, you're going with Gina. What was her price? Just so everyone is
$11, which
right.
I thought was a steal, and especially if with the throwing kind of capacity that she has, I think that I could get it's. Yeah, I just couldn't find anyone else with that price point for that position. So happy to go first.
Yeah,
happy to get that steal.
She was third in handler score last year, and she's half the price of the players above her. So good value pick off the top.
Yeah, I worth noting that the price formulation, or at least I think it takes into account, if you flip over, you can look at the fantasy points from last year, the basic statistics from last year, or there's a miscellaneous tab where they actually track how many times the player is mentioned on Ultiworld, and stuff like their Callahan video views and their rankings score from our top 25 player rankings, which I think informs some of the prices, especially for players who weren't at Nationals last year. So someone like Cami Groom, I think the price change probably came, my bet is because her roster name is Cameron Groom, and then they were like, okay, when we plug in Cami Groom, her name pops up, obviously, and her stat pops up. So Cami Groom obviously getting priced way higher. Okay. So my pick here, I think it's an interesting process to figure out exactly where to go first, because now I have to think about, like, what are you guys going to do with your picks? Because it isn't just like, how do I want to build my team? It's like, well, who do I worry you're going to take from me instead? So I think the place I'm going to start is, I think I got to take Kayla Helton here.
Wow.
We mentioned her captain score. She's $22. I probably will run her as a defensive player, but we'll see how my lineup ends up shaking out. But I want to get the high price players first because there just aren't that many of them. So I want somebody who I feel very highly is going to score a lot of points. It's too high usage.
I'm going to go with a USA World Games player who I am sure is going to score a ton of goals. I'm going to have to decide later whether I want to put her at captain or at cutter. But I will take Dawn Colton at $12. Feels like a steal at this price point, given that her role is only going to be increasing as we go into Nationals this year. I get another pick, though, so I got to decide what I want to do here. Let's see. I got to look at the price here.
It's tricky to map your way through not only the prices, but like where the values are. There's a lot of, especially with this draft format, there's a lot of variables to consider.
And I got to think about, I have 7 players and $70. So, like, there is some value in taking inexpensive players. I think I'm gonna sit tight on what I was just thinking about, and I'm gonna take a more obvious pick. I think I will take Claire Trope at $17.
That is
one of the most expensive players on the board, but I think more or less a lock to rack up points at the captain position.
That is 100% who I was going to take next. So I'll need a new plan here. Yeah. Trope, is not averse to turnovers just because of how high usage her role is and how much the team asked her to do. Maybe even more this year. It feels like she was throwing even more when we saw her at Pro Champs, but it was pretty windy. Only 12 turnovers though last year, 20 goals and 13 assists and 5 blocks. So, an obvious going to give you numbers player in a big role. So I totally get that. All right. I'm going to go with my value player next. And it's partially because Charlie was just looking at their roster, so I'm worried that Charlie was going to take this person if I don't jump on it soon, drawing attention to it. So I'm going to take Alex Barnett at just $6.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's a great deal, and I get to avoid a lot of turnovers. I think this high usage player is going to generate a lot of assists for Phoenix. So I'll go Alex Barnett here. Get my value now.
There's so many
how much was
crazy values.
You said $6 for Burnett? I gotta try to keep track of what your
$6
money's
Alex
at.
Barnett. Yeah,
Okay.
Don't worry. I'm tracking it too. Don't worry.
Well, I want to know like who's off the table for you at some point.
You can always ask me if you need me to tell you my numbers. I will give it to you.
So gracious of you. Yeah, I don't know if I should. My highest ticket player is not like a crazy high ticket player, but I wanted to pick somebody who generates a lot of blocks for my captain spot, as well as scores goals and assists, but just doesn't turn it over. I think, yeah, Shayla Harris is going to be my next pick. Is that who you're going for?
It. Yes, I was hoping that Shayla
the
would
low
make it around the
turns.
corner. I know.
Low turns, loved it.
I think she
do
had.
I go again?
Did they take stats at Pro Champs? I don't think so.
You do get 2 picks in a row, by the way.
Shayla had 9 blocks at US Open. Just at US Open. And the other thing is Fury is going to play 7 games almost for sure. That's another important factor.
Yeah. So, love that one. Okay, this next one. I think just based on the fact that this team is going to be doing quite well this year compared to last year, I think, this player might end up with a lot of turnovers, but just their throwing power and trajectory. We talked about this player kind of off the top, but I'm going to go Hakimi as my next pick.
What is she priced at?
$9.
All right. Chloe Hakimi at $9. I wasn't sure what to do with her. I'm really not sure what to expect from her production at Nationals.
I know.
I mostly would be worried about the turnovers, but
yeah,
if she's hitting, she's going to be killing it.
They're not so punished.
Turns at US Open.
The main place that I worry about turns is with my captain. Getting the 3x per turn is tough. So I'm really looking to make sure that I have an efficient captain. I'm probably going to put Barnett at my captain for that reason, but maybe not. Maybe it's crazy to put a handler at captain for that spot, especially when I don't know that she's going to be somebody who generates a ton of blocks. But anyway, I'm getting far field here. My next pick, I'm going to take, just look at this person's stats from last year. Yeah, I'm going to take Trout Waybright at 14. Another highly productive player who I think is only going to continue to see their role grow. Also, somebody who might get blocks, which is a big benefit.
All right. I'm going to snag a value pick because I am not confident that this player will be available to me the next cycle through. At $3, I'm going to take Alex Guy from Molly Brown. Alex Guy had how many? I got too many tabs open right now. I believe goal leader at US Open. And
wow.
I think it's just going to rack up points at the cutter position. Now, this is like a value play, so it's going to let me take some more expensive players at the rest of my picks. So let's see. I'm now sitting at $32 spent of my 70. Do I want to go to defense here? I am going to go. Man, I really wanted to take Shayla. This is like the spot that I was gonna take her. It's brutal.
Sorry.
Let me go with Dina Elamelek at $14.
All right.
So those are my two picks.
Okay. Well, that's good. At least that I thought there was somebody else you were going to take at $3. So I'm glad that you didn't take a person that I'm thinking about at $3. Alex Guy did have a ton of goals, but that was not not like a full,
not a full strength Molly roster. Yeah,
Molly roster.
Fair.
So we'll see. We'll see if that continues. Although I've definitely seen some Alex Guy hype in the Discord. All right, I'm gonna go with Carolyn Normile next for I honestly would think I'm just gonna put her in handler, obviously, but she scores a lot of goals. She had a slightly higher handler score than Cutter score last year, and a higher defender score than both of those. So was one of the top scoring players in both assists and goals at the US Open. So I'll take Carolyn Normile. At $8 feels like it's way too cheap.
Back to you, Danie.
Yeah. Gotta give some love to our producer. Gonna be picking a little Sue next. I think just consistently getting blocks, but also productive on the actual scoring side of the disc as well. I think for $13. Got you, Sue. I get another one right away.
Highest price player on Phoenix.
Yes. Worth it just because, again, across the board production. Sue, don't disappoint me. You know how competitive I am. And then I'm going to do Scazzieri for $8.
I was also thinking about
that's a good
Irene.
I like it when you guys make that noise.
That is as somebody who plays a lot of fantasy, that's like really the ideal. The only thing comparable to winning is making the other people you're drafting with upset that you took their pick.
Sue, did you notice that they didn't make that noise when I picked you? Anyways.
Well,
no, Sue was going to come off the board for sure.
Yeah, the big difference between Sue like gets assists, but may actually have to take some turnovers with that role. It's got definitely the attractiveness of this Scazzieri role is very, very limited turnovers with all the scoring. Okay. Trying to decide if I need to deviate from my plan at this point or go back to players I have already on my list. Okay, I'm gonna take Marie Perivier at $10 from Scandal. Just middle ground pricing, not too expensive, but fills out the roster with lots of different stats. I think Scandal tends to be like really concentrate the key usage of their players. So I'll take Perivier, who can score goals or get assists.
All right, let's see. I have 4 of my 6 picks, or my 7 picks in. Predicting the top defense scoring is difficult. Do you want to go with somebody who played great last year at the position, or do you try to project? I'm gonna go with Manu Cardenas. Maybe not the absolute most obvious defensive pick, because probably she's going to play on the offense. I think TBD a little bit with Molly, but I know she's going to get blocks. Regardless of what line she's on, she's going to get blocks. And so I'm going to take Manu at $11. So where does this put my budget at this point? So that's
$43. Wait, how many players have you picked so far?
34,
He's
46, 57. So I have $13
What did I
left
miss?
for 2 picks.
Yeah, you have. Yeah, that is correct.
Dawn,
Dina?
Claire.
Alex Guy, Dina Elamelek, and now Manu.
I missed Dina.
So I have. What did I say? I have $17 left. I have $13.
You have $13 left with two players.
$13 left. Got it. All right. Let's see. Do I dare? Do I dare? I'm going to take... Forget it. Give me both of the twins. I'm going to take Vale, who is a surprisingly cheap $6. Maybe because of the turnovers, but like, and I'm buying low here a little bit on Vale. She hasn't necessarily had like the best 2025 yet, but I'm banking on bounce back at nationals.
Yeah, she just didn't. She also didn't have a great national statistically last year. She had 12 turnovers or 12 assists and 13 turnovers with 4 blocks and 3 goals. Just not jumping off the page. I'm sure that's what's informing her score. I think we all know her talent exceeds that $6 price tag, but ultimately it's about the numbers you put up on the board. And I don't think you get a bonus for having them both. So definitely the type of volatile
I'm going to feel
player.
good going into nationals. I'm swinging for the fences, and I could get wrecked.
I think that's the right thing to do in fantasy because you don't get anything for finishing 10th or whatever. You only win for finishing first. So, playing not to lose is the wrong move, in my opinion, in basically all pursuits of fantasy. Okay. I think I'm going to take a risk here. Let me see my budget because it changed a little bit. So I've got Kayla Helton at 22, Alex Barnett at 6, Trout Wainwright at 14, Normile at 8, and Privier at 10. So it leaves me with 10. Okay. I'm going to take this is kind of a gamble because we really have not seen this player, but kind of on the same idea as Vale. I'm going to take Sarah Mextroth. Who's only $3.
Yeah.
I don't know what role she's going to play with Phoenix, and so that worries me. But, could be a player who ends up getting a lot of blocks. Could be a player who ends up getting a lot of goals. Depends on what her role is. I mean, I think the main thing for getting blocks is honestly just being on the field. So I think they're going to want to make use of her. So I'm taking Mex because it's just so affordable.
Yeah, I saw that one too, unfortunately. Okay, so I'm going to be finishing mine here, I assume.
That's right.
Abby Hecko, I'll take at $9. Those last two, I haven't decided whether I'm going to go cutter or defender for either of them. Now that I don't have to declare right away, that's super nice. And then based on just having World Games experience this last year, I'm going to pick Flo Dion just because I think last year, like she's coming in at $4 because she had a lot of turns last year, but I think playing World Games really helped that. And I think she'll have a really big role on Iris this year. And I do need a Canadian. So
this is where ball knowledge.
I'm at $70.
Really, this is where ball knowledge comes into play. When you can talk about the development trend that a player's on, like that's where you're showing off the ball knowledge. All right. Nicely done. I get to make a change. I had a $3 value player who I was going to pick here. But now that because I didn't get their trope and instead got Trout Wainwright, I have some extra money laying around. So I'm going to take Ella Youngst at $7, which I believe should fully hit me to 70. I think we all know the deal there. Gonna give her a cutter roll, let her score a bunch of goals. She doesn't really turn it over that much. Bing, bang, boom. All the way to the bank.
So who do you have total now?
So I have Kayla Helton, Alex Barnett, Trout Wainwright, Carolyn Normile, Marie Privier, Sarah Mextroth, and Ella Youngst.
Keith, I'm jealous that you got Barnett for so cheap so early. Let me see. I have one player left. I need to pick a handler. I have the option of going with Carolyn Finney. I can afford Carolyn Finney, but the turnover count concerns me. I think what I'm going to do is take a player who I think is underpriced with their current level of production, and that is Kate Lanier.
You're $4,
$5. Right? I think I have 7 to work with.
Oh, you have 7. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to take Kate Lanier at $5. So I'll have $2 left over, but that's fine.
Can I
Kate's
have
been
the
really
$2?
good for Riot this this season. I feel like I should get something by keeping $2. I should get it should be a tiebreaker for me.
Like
That's
it
fair,
rolls
right?
over to your other division.
Oh, there we go.
You get
But
nothing.
no. It's actually a penalty for not landing exactly on 70.
All right. So Charlie's got Dawn Colton, Claire Trope, Alex Guy, Dina Elamelek, Manu, and Vale Cardenas, and Kate Lanier. Danie ending up with Yina Cartagena, Shayla Harris, Chloe Hakimi, Lindsay Sue, Irina Scazzieri, Abby Hecko, and Flo Dion.
Did you read yours?
Yeah,
yet,
I'm
Keith?
going to win. I'm going to win. Yeah, Kayla Heldon, Alex Barnett, Trout Waybright, Carolyn Normile, Marie Perivier, Sarah Mexstroth, and Ellie Youngst.
All right, let's see what happens. I got to be rooting hard for Molly Brown. That's for sure.
I think there's something to be said for the correlation of having multiple players for the same team. I mean, it doesn't seem to have had a massive impact on overall stats from last year because the consolation games matter, but some players do have more games than others. Some players played 7 games, some players played 6 games. I'm assuming that you end up actually, I guess the way to end up with 6 games is to win all your pool play games and get a bye and then win 3 bracket games. So I don't know. Make it that way you will.
All right. Well, there's our first division's picks in the books. Danie, you have to pick your assignments here. So are you sticking with Shayla as your captain?
We're picking assignments now.
Yeah, you got to do it now.
Okay. Yeah. Shayla captain. Hakimi and Cartagena handlers. Sue defender. Hecko defender. I might regret that. Scazzieri, Cutter, Flo Dion, Cutter.
Got it.
I mean, you got to have Scazzieri as Cutter. Okay.
Yeah.
We move to the mixed division. In the mixed division, Keith gets the first overall pick. I'm going second, and Danie is going third. So let's do it. Keith, you're up. You're on the clock. Nathan Champeau is the most expensive player in the mixed division at $20.
And I'm running in the card. I know exactly who I want to take at this point. What position I'm going to put this person at, I don't know. I will note, I don't think that I'm not even sure we said this in the pre-show, but just in case you didn't know, we are going to have a 3-4 or a 4-3 gender split. That is not a required part of the leagues, as I don't know how they would know which players are which type of match, but we're just going to use what we know about the game to do it ourselves. Okay, I'm taking Tanner Johnson Go at $16 off the bat here.
You ruined my game plan.
Game plan. Pick Tanner. Yeah, it's hard to argue with that. He had a fantastic statistical performance last year, Keith, and he's been awesome in 2025. I mean, he looked unbelievable playing for the Boston Glory in the UFA, and he's been rock solid when he's been available for Sprocket. So any thoughts on why Tanner over other obviously high production players?
He's just a player who I think is the most central to his team, save maybe Travis Dunn of those top players. And so I wanted to get him. I also think he's going to be on the field to get blocks. He's been playing D-line a lot in like other not playing with Sprocket. I still think the most important thing for playing for blocks, besides being like good, is just being on the field a lot. And I know he's going to do that, so I'm taking Tanner here.
It's very fair. As much as I want to take Travis Dunn, I just am a little worried about the health. He's having the back issues at regionals, and I know he played through it, but like if that's still lingering, that could be a problem for his performance with Lawless. I am going to take someone who I think has looked fantastic all season, and that is Oliver Chartok at $17. Chartok was phenomenal at US Open. He was phenomenal at Pro Champs. I'm going to have to decide where to put him. I think I could put him at cutter or captain. So I will make that determination after we do some more picks. He was the third highest scoring captain last year.
Okay. I'm going to go with Dalton Smith at 16. And then I go again. Going twice in a row. I'm not emotionally prepared. Krebs at 9.
Krebs at 9. Wow.
I knew without a doubt that Jolie Krebs was going to be picked during the course of this. I think that much is clear. I think you just got to wonder about the turnovers, right? Like,
I know.
But
absolutely. That is the concern.
But not as a captain. I'm not picking Krebs as a captain, so.
All right, Keith.
She didn't play nationals last year, huh? Is that right?
No.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what you're gonna get. That's a mystery box, but it's well worth opening.
I just think she's so exciting. I don't care.
Okay.
I love watching her, so it gives me more of a reason to watch her.
Incredible value at that price, I think, but you cannot beat the value of the player that I am about to take, and that is Rachel Mast for $3. $3.
What? That
she
can't
had
be true.
10 goals, 6 assists, 5 blocks, and 1 turnover at the U.S. Open for hybrid. I mean, unbelievable. Like, I might have to captain her because of the low turnover numbers, and at $3, it's insane. Insane value. So I was wondering whether I should take her in the first round. I thought I maybe would get a little greedy, and it worked out.
Yeah, I didn't even see her down there. So far down the list.
Next pick. She did not do much at nationals last year. I think she got hurt during nationals. So honestly, I wish I had told them before this to change her breasts.
Trying to get away with one.
Too late now, Keith. Too late now.
Way too good a pick.
I wonder if I can have saying this if you just picked her.
No, I would have. I want the game to be fun. But yes, picking her is a great pick. She's unbelievable block getter. I mean, on top of all the other stuff, great, just guaranteed to get blocks. I will be shocked if she has fewer than 5 blocks at nationals. Stunned. Okay. My next pick, there is kind of a dearth of just like high price players in general. I think it's a little hard. I kind of wish there were some more big ticket players to take. Like make me take more of the value players. But either way, someone who scores a ton, rarely turns it over. Gotta love both those things in concert. I'm taking Jade McLaughlin. $15.
Great pick.
Guaranteed buckets.
Jade's a beast.
Easy cutter pick. Unless I put her at a captain spot. I might, honestly, because
how much was she again?
Turnover. She was $15.
Yeah.
Charlie with Rachel Mazda 3. So good. Do I need to take my value pick, or do I worry that it's going to get stolen? I've already had 2 players I was planning on taken. I'm going to get greedy with it. I'm going to leave my pick out there. I'm also going to take another Shane player. I'm going to take Rory Veldman. Another player who like just puts up big numbers. Just is heavily involved in all sorts of ways in the offense. I think going to have a much bigger role and bigger stats than last year, where she had 6, 8, 3, and just 2 turnovers. I think he'll get a lot more turns too, but I think she's going to be putting up numbers.
All right. I think I got to do it. At this prices. I can go back to the high price players later, but I don't want to let these players get away from me. I kind of think maybe this is the player Keith was thinking about taking.
Oh,
I'm gonna
no.
take Joey Wiley for $3.
That is a
Joey
great
Wiley
pick, but
had
not who I was thinking of.
15 assists at US Open. So I'm gonna lock in Wiley at a handler spot.
Well, I wonder why his price is so low. I'm looking at his stats from last year. He had 4, 5, 3, and 11 turnovers last year. So
many turns,
if he,
obviously,
if he brings it back like last year, I mean, it's not what I feel like I see their offense operating like now. And you know what it is?
Awesome.
You know what it is? It's because last year Kyle Henke was on the team, and he had 10 goals and 15 assists. So with no Kyle Henke on the team, that's opening up the usage for Joe Wiley. Okay, it's coming together. Back to back for Danie.
I gotta say, I think I'm crushing you guys so far in this draft.
Yeah, we're really.
Yeah,
we're really
I feel a little vulnerable based on just honestly depth of knowledge of the $3 picks. It's not my strength in this division. Abby Chang will be my next pick for $10. Just
all right.
Productive all over the place. And then I'm going to go Zepp Ronig because just a big Zepp fan after U24s. And obviously I got to watch the final of regionals. And I think that Zepp's just on a come up, just scores buckets for $12.
That was man. I'm getting wrecked here from my pregame list is just being torn apart. Pick after pick. That's a tough one to lose.
Okay. Give me Aaron Bartlett at $13. I'm probably gonna put him in the cutter slot. But I'm going to have to decide. I think I have some optionality with him. I feel like I can put him at handler or cutter and probably be okay. So yeah, I just like the price that I'm getting on one of the best players on hybrid.
Stacking up a hybrid too. I can't be against that. Okay, now Charlie has scared me, and I have so few players on my list anymore that I'm gonna be winging it after this anyway. So now I have to take my value player. So my first value player here is gonna be Emma Poyer from Dragon Thrust. Made it onto some of the top 25 lists at very, very high rankings. Only $3. Led the team in scoring at US Open this year. Much bigger offensive role this season for her. So I'll take her for $3. And I think she's gonna be also a low turnover player. Now I gotta start thinking more flexibly here about some of the other players that I had on my list. I think I'm gonna go with what's this person's price? You know what? This could be a steal. $6. Okay. I'll come back for that. I think I need a higher priced player maybe because I lost Zeppelin Ronig and Jolie Krebs potential picks. Yes, those are both good. They're both good. I'm gonna take Axel Agami at $12. Don't know what position I'm going to put him at, but he's a great defender, so I very, very likely to put him on defense. And that's back to you, Charlie.
Oh, It's hard. It's hard. I'm thinking about. We can go 4-3 in either direction. Is that the
Correct?
Is that the idea?
Yeah.
I actually think I'm going to have to, here in round 5, with him still on the board, roll the dice and take Travis Dunn. And I get the ability to do that because I took 2 $3 players. So I'm going to take Travis Dunn. I'm going to put him at handler. I'm going to hope that he's healthy. He was an absolute beast in the handler score last year. He led the tournament. So I'm locking that in at $19.
Big ticket item. You save the money for this purpose, right?
That's right.
Those $3 picks really helped you out there.
That's right. How much money do I have left? I'll work on that while Danie makes her picks.
You have spent $5,500.
You get to go.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right. Gosh. I'm going to go Zach Singer for $9. Just like not sure about these next picks. Go with my gut. Okay. And then Piers McNaughton for $6.
You're kidding.
Really?
How? Nobody
Okay.
ever.
Keith sniped again.
I am only like, I said this in our top 25. I said this in our top 25 exercise, but I feel like sometimes the only person who notices that Piers McNaughton is like constantly good at doing good stuff for slow. And I was like, yeah, no one's going to think of Piers McNaughton. No one ever thinks about him when we do in the top 25. And then what do you know?
What?
There
Guess who listens to the podcast?
Yeah. Okay.
But also, I wasn't
Wish
going to
about my own
pick him
petard.
right now. I was going to pick him 7th, but you said something, $6. So I was like, maybe he's going to pick Piers, so I'm going to move him up. So that's your fault.
Look, I'm trying to make an entertaining show
Walked
here.
right into
an
it.
entertaining product.
Walked right into it.
Okay, Charlie, you're up.
Is it me?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm
You have $15 left.
Maddie Cannon for $9.
Sensible pick.
One of the top cutters. Last year.
You said $9?
$9.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna take I might as well just keep riding this team's fortunes here. So I'm gonna go back to shame. And I'm gonna take can I take this person? Do I have enough money left over? I have $14 left over? No,
Yeah.
I cannot take this person because $3 is the minimum.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna rethink this idea then. Man, my list has been just carved up. Brutal. I'm gonna take Theo Shapinski at $8. I do think that's going to force me to move around some players because I already had players I was thinking about at handler. But that's okay. And now I need a defender. And I now have 3 male matching and 3 women matching players. So I need a defender who's like $5 or less. Who's putting up numbers last year?
$6?
Yeah, I have $6, I think.
Yeah.
There's just not a lot of blocks going around. And none of these numbers are so convincing that it's like, I think blocks are not fluky per se, but they're not super predictive, because they're just so
opportunistic too.
Yes. All right. Well, then let me go to another player that I do feel like generally gets blocks and is going to stack with my other players. So I'm going to take Kyle Suflo for $6.
I'm a big Soufflo fan right now. I like to pick. Oh my gosh. I don't know where the blocks are going to come from here. I haven't seen enough of this team play to feel confident about this pick, but I'm going to go with it. I'm hoping she's still on the D line. I'm going to take Rowan Limp for $4.
I love
Mixtape.
Rowan.
And
Such a fun player.
Was a solid performer as a block getter last season. So
if it makes you feel better, I
Awesome
saw
opportunity.
her get blocks in the final against BFG. So
at regionals, that's what I'm talking about.
yeah, she looked good.
All right. I figured
That's a good
she was
pick.
still on the D line. So, all right. Good stuff.
Well, I mean, there's so many turns. I don't know if that was at the O line or the D line, but she's getting blocks. It doesn't matter.
Fine. As long as she's getting blocks.
So it's me. Final pick. I'm going to go
Indeed.
Sarah Nitz for $8 to take me right to 70 again. Got some blocks, but scores, doesn't really turn it over, is on a team that's going to do well. Yeah.
Interesting note. Defensive scores in the mixed division way lower than in the women's division. It's like a much tighter range for defense.
I wonder why that is.
I don't know. All right. Keith, you want to give us the teams?
Is it just so many
yeah.
more blocks in the mixed division? Versus just
Maybe more
turns?
turnovers. Maybe there's more block opportunities in the women's division. I don't know.
All right, so my team from the first overall pick, I have Tanner Johnson-Go, Jade McLaughlin, Rory Veldman, Emma Poyer, Axel Agami-Contreras, Theo Shapinsky, and Kyle Sulflo. Charlie has Oliver Chartok, Rachel Mass, Joey Wiley, Aaron Bartlett, Travis Dunn, Maddie Cannon, and Rowan Limp. And Danie has Dalton Smith, Jolie Krebs, Abby Chang, Zeppelin Ronig, Zach Singer, Piers McNaughton somehow, and Sarah Nitz.
Salty?
All right.
Yes.
He's
saltier
so
than a
salty.
ketchup
He
chip
said that
right now.
He said he had so much salt in his voice when he read those out.
I think I got
right.
3 or 4 from his list just in mixed.
Yeah, Keith, how many picks did you have sniped there?
A lot. I mean, my initial list, I got like 4 of them on my actual team from my like initial 7 that I hope to get. And that's not counting a few others that I was thinking about.
All right. Well, let's move to the men's division. I will get the first overall pick in men's, and then Danie, and then Keith after that. And here we go. The most expensive player by a distance is Locus Ambrose, who was $25 in this draft. He somehow managed to put up massive numbers despite only playing 5 games last year. He was the top defender by a huge margin and had the top captain score, which tends to happen if you get a lot of blocks. You tend to be a really valuable player.
111 total points as a defender is crazy.
It's incredible. I mean, that like literally 30 more points than second best. All right. Well, I don't think I'm going to overthink this one. I think I'm going to pick the best player in the division right now, and that's Dande Murray at $17.
Fair.
I don't even know if that's like, I didn't do like a deep dive on the price value here, blah, blah, blah. Just give me the best guy. I'll take him and I'll put him as my captain. Perfect.
Danie, you're up.
I'm going to go with Micah Glass just because as somebody who throws a lot of assists, he scores more goals than that. And I just think I have high hopes for that team as well this year. So I'll lock him in. Also, I'm just a big fan of the Glass family. So there's pedigree.
All right. Well, I will also draft from Rhino. And I thought, Charlie, there was a chance that you were going to take this player first overall because of their price. Because Dande Murray may be the number 1 overall player, but is he really $7 better than Henry Ing? at $10. I'll take Henry Ing for a 10 spot. I mean, he's certainly going to have a more expanded role this year than his 6 goals and 8 assists. I think. I feel pretty confident about that. I think next, I'm thinking between 2 different players right now. And I think I'm just going to take Nate Goff here at 17. Another machine player. One of the few high-priced players on the board who I feel like really good about getting a lot of production from, especially his ability to get blocks even as a no-line player.
Back to Danie.
So I'm in the middle, so I only go one at a time now, eh? I'm going to go Rowan McDonald at $6.
The early value play.
Just thought I would get that while I could. Although there's a lot of people that I feel that way about, but it's all right.
Charlie, you're up back to back.
I got 2 in a row, right? All right. Give me a second here. I'm making sure I dig deep enough in this list. $11? It's not bad. Not bad. It's not bad.
I know exactly who you're looking at. I know exactly who you're looking at.
I would take. Well, I guess I don't 100% know. Like, well, let me see. Is this? Wow, 7. I got 2 in a row.
You do?
Okay. First up, let me take the obvious one.
Them.
Christian Boxley for $7.
Okay.
This is an easy call at $7.
Oh no.
I have to decide where I want to put him. I might have to think about possibility of captain spot. Probably just Cutter, but I'll think about it. I'm gonna take Brett Holzmeyer at $11. Love the price.
Me now?
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Rafi Hayes for 11.
That's the $11 player, I think. Danie and I were on the same page about that.
Yeah,
I didn't realize. I have to be honest. I didn't realize that Rafi was $11 as well.
I thought that's who you were looking at when you said $11.
It's a great pick. It's kind of hard to project with Rhino, right? Because of how much limited play those guys had this season. I'm not that it's not a good pick. It's a great pick. Rafi is awesome. It's just like you don't totally know where the production's going to be and what the roles are going to be. It's a little weird with them this year.
I agree.
All right. I know I'm going to get one of my value picks right now before somebody else can, which is Orion Cable at just $5. Just a big goal scorer who doesn't turn over, gets a ton of touches. Probably will come up with some blocks too. So I feel good about that. And speaking of blocks, let me spend a little bit here. Go back to Rhino. I'm going to take Daniel Lee.
No.
For $14. And certainly put him on.
I don't know if I could afford him anyway, but
finally I make somebody else say damn it.
That's so annoying. Well, you got Henry Ing too. That wasn't my favorite. Gosh. Oh my gosh. I wasn't like in the spot last time. I'm gonna go with Michael Poe for 8. Oh yeah, just go for 1. Okay, that'll buy me some time to actually look.
That is a fantastic pick. Michael Poe could have an amazing nationals and get a zillion blocks.
This is U24 pilled, right? Like that's your inspiration here.
But like this dude has been coming up fast. He's really good. That's a great pick. I get back to back here.
Indeed.
Give me the top 2 assist throwers on Revolver, please. I will take Mac Hecht and Walker Frankenberg.
No, I'm getting sniped.
Walker is $6. Somehow Mac is also $6. So those are 2 cheap picks for me at the handler spot, and they are going to shred.
My entire list is depleted completely. That's crazy. I still have 3 people to pick.
I have a fully mapped I have my fully mapped out plans. Now I just have to hope I don't get sniped.
I'm gonna need like 30 seconds here. That's your guys' fault. So
I just ruined your picks.
Both of you.
Mac Hecht at $6. How do we end up with Mac Hecht at
$6? That's why if you saw me freak out earlier, if you're watching the YouTube show, that's what I was freaking out about.
Let's see. Last year he had 4 goals, 13 assists, 0 blocks, 7 turns. Okay. I guess that's like not crazy.
He's gonna throw a lot of assists.
They distributed a lot, and he doesn't get any blocks. That's my concern.
The lack of blocks is a little bit painful. Blocks are really valuable at every position. But I think at US Open he had 17 assists and 4 turnovers. I will gladly roll the dice on Mac, who's playing amazing right now.
Yeah, those are good numbers.
Thank you for taking up some time for me. Gonna go Chris Kotcher at 11.
It's
almost impossible to go wrong with Chris Kotcher.
Yeah, I'm hoping that's true.
Okay.
All right, Keith, back to back for you.
Back to back. And I've got value picks to go for here. I'm going to take Connor McHale for $6. I guess I have to worry a little bit that his lack of familiarity with GOAT will keep him from being purely central, but I think they're just going to stuff him out there and be like, okay, you're one of the best players in the field. Let's get you the ball. So I'll take Connor McHale as probably as a handler here from GOAT. And then I'm going to take Grant Lindsley at just $3 from Johnny Bravo. There's some risk here that he could, slinging around a little bit more than I would like, but he seems very impactful for Bravo. If they're going to play well, I think it'll in part be on him. And he looked great playing defense at World Games, so hopefully he can spring me a few blocks too.
This is tough. I have $23 left, which is actually a pretty good amount. I need defense.
It's Danny's turn, though.
Oh, yeah.
Who are you going to pick, Charlie?
I better not say anything. Danny, you're up.
Thought I was going to get away with a fast one there. Jeez. You guys have any other fun things to talk about to buy me some time?
So you have $13 left for your 2 positions here.
Yes. It's been decimated.
Plenty of good. There's no shortage of good. That's kind of the thing here. Is you're hoping you pick the right players, but there aren't a shortage of people you can make a good case for it.
All right, this is going to be my. Oh gosh, but I gotta look at the positions that I need. I don't need a handler.
Is it time for you to take your Canadian?
Well, I wasn't going to take a Canadian. I was going to take a Team Canada person.
Oh, okay.
That kind of
That's
gives
a
you
good move.
any indication.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Ryan Shigley just as my homer pick for $4. I have 12 to work with.
All right. I need defense. I have $23 to spend. I'm going to start by taking Alexandre Fall for $8. So that gives me what? 15?
Yeah, I believe so. I think you're at 55. That's where I have you at. And
Ugh.
based on your positions right now, you need another defender based on the positions you put there.
Yeah. I'm probably taking defense here. It's kind of tricky. Some of the players who had high defense scores last year are like on the O lines. Let me check one thing before I make my final pick.
Check whatever you need to, Mike.
I'm happy about this. Let me just make sure that they weren't already picked, right? I guess it doesn't matter if I say anything because it's my choice. Last one here. Nobody has taken David Sealand. I will take David Sealand for $13 with my final pick. Another defender who, by the way, has played great this season.
Yep. A lot of good defenders to take on Rhino.
All right, Danie. One more.
I'm going to go Quinn Finer. No, 12.
Okay.
Quinn Finer for 12.
All right.
I will warn you, Danie. It is possible he's going to be limited or not even play at Nationals due to injury.
I assume that if he's on this list, it meant that he was good to go.
He's rostered.
Yeah, he's on the roster.
But
right.
He's been banged up. So I just will warn you. You can go for it. And obviously, if he plays, he's probably going to be worth the price. But it is a little bit risky.
Yeah, how banged up was he?
Well, I think there's just still questions about whether he's going to play at Nationals even.
Yeah.
Oh.
I can't say. I don't know much detail, but yeah.
I did not know.
You want to change?
Am I allowed?
I think you can change.
We haven't even moved on to the next pick yet, so you're fine.
Okay, I would go with Nick Spiva instead.
Nikki.
Thank you for allowing me to change. Yes, Nikki.
All right. Nicky Spiva from Chain.
Though.
Aiden asked, was Michael Ing even taken? No. I have the last pick, and they're Michael Ing wasn't taken. Toby DeCrona not taken. There are definitely some big name players. Yeah, I think there are always going to be some big name players.
Weirdly, not a statistical standout last year. I thought about DeCrona. I thought about DeCrona. Dig is a little tricky. They spread the wealth a lot. DeCrona is an amazing player, but I'm just not sure he's going to be statistically enough of a standout on Dig. I mean, there's a lot of good players didn't get picked.
Yeah,
we could all end up looking dumb not taking 2 top 10 players, but like JR hasn't been picked, Dameron hasn't been picked. Like if you look at our top 25, some of it's price, some of it's like role.
Yeah, and like it doesn't. Overall talent doesn't map directly onto fantasy value, if that makes sense. It does in a lot of ways, but not just like exclusively. So it's a little more complicated than that. Michael Ing, looking back at like what we have from our Pro Champs information about how his numbers looked. Because maybe that is worth me knowing. Because he didn't play US Open. So yeah, I mean
he
like
looks fantastic.
but he didn't put up a single stat against Dig in semifinals. Like, I think that's possible when you're on D-line. It's just going to hurt your ability to generate a ton of stats.
Yeah.
So a talented player like that going to get sometimes going to get overlooked. A player who I thought very had a good chance of Charlie taking him, Sam Grossberg, just $5. $5 for Sam Grossberg.
That feels like you could just get absolutely bombarded by turnovers.
Yeah, another value player I was thinking about was Paul Arders, but I have plenty of money left, so I'm gonna use my big chip stack on Declan Miller from Sockeye.
Yeah,
$15.
I like that pick. I was thinking about Declan. All right,
I'll end up making him a
that
cutter.
wraps it up.
Yeah, that's our last one.
You're making Ing captain or Goff captain?
I think so.
Good about this one.
I think I'll make Ing captain and Goff D. I think that's what I'm going to do here. Because I don't want a 3x Goff's turnovers. I feel like he's more likely to turn it over than Henry Ing. Okay.
All right, read him off, Keith.
So Charlie wraps up with the first overall pick. He has Don DeMarais, Christian Boxley, Brett Holzmeyer, Matt Hecht, Walker Frankenberg, Alexander Fall, and David Sealand. Danie ends up with Micah Glass, Rowan McDonald, Rafi Hayes, Michael Poe, Chris Kocher, Ryan Shigley, and Nikki Spiva. And I have Henry Ing, Nate Goff, Ryan Cable, Daniel Lee, Connor McHale, Grant Lindsley, and Declan Miller is my final 7.
I have to say, these feel balanced. It's very difficult to predict. You have an obvious favorite here, Keith?
No, I really don't. I don't feel like I do. I think your team has a lot of upside. If Mac Hecht and Walker Frankenberg get you a lot of points, I think that could be really good for you. Danny's obviously got Rafi Hayes, and like if everybody's wrong about this Chris Kocher thing, that could be a big difference maker for her. And Michael Glass had a crazy nationals last year. I'll be impressed if he can repeat what he did last year.
I mean,
yeah.
Let's look at Kocher's stat line from U.S. Open. Oh, he didn't play. Right. We don't
play.
have great stats. I'm sure Kocher's going to put up numbers. All right. There's a look at all of the teams if you're watching on the YouTube side. And you can join our league here for Deep Look. Keith, the link you sent out to me earlier for the women's league did not work. I think it was men's again. So please resend that out. We'll make sure we get our picks put in, and you can see how you can do stacking up against me and Danie and Keith. And if you finish atop the listeners, we're going to give you a free Ulti World shirt. So all you got to do is go to fantasyfrisbee.com. The links are in the description if you want to join our Deep Look leagues. You can also make your own. So great stuff. Danie, how do you feel like you did?
I mean, I feel the most confident about my women's team just having played in that division and knowing a bit more about the players like all the way down really helped. I think I got a little bit exposed in open, but yeah, I feel good about it. I pick players that excite me, that I'm excited to watch. It's kind of how I went off after listening to the World Games draft and how the subscribers were picking based on names that they liked and names that they wanted to see play, and they won. So I was like, I'm just going to go with that strategy.
It worked out. It worked out well. We've got some more cool World Game stuff to talk about a little bit later in the show, but that is going to do it for our fantasy draft. Danie, thanks for being here. Looking forward to seeing you in about a week.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
Danie will be on the air alongside Keith and many others as we get ready for our live coverage from the Club National Championships. Check out the schedule at ultiworld.com. We'll be right back on Deep Look. Thanks, Danie.
Thanks.
game's biggest stars on the game's brightest stage. The world's most competitive annual tournament pits the playmakers and the game changers against one another in a weekend of action. So many legacies on the line in this game.
Arguably the best player.
And that's just ridiculous. She's got it, and it's over.
Welcome back to Deep Look. Thanks again to Danie Proby for joining us for our fantasy draft. Keith, that was fun. Are you feeling confident? I'm feeling really good about my mixed and men's drafts. I'm not feeling as great about my women's draft.
I am concerned about how good your team could be in mixed. I'll throw that out there. I feel pretty like we drafted 3 pretty even teams in the other ones, or in the other 2 divisions. So maybe Danny's men's division team is a step behind ours, but I think it's going to be anybody's game in the other divisions.
It's just, if Michael Poe goes out there and gets 10 blocks,
I mean that's true
Danny's
for
team can
anybody.
win.
Is Michael Poe?
I know, but like he legitimately could do that.
Yeah, anybody whose
I get your
team
point.
has a player who gets 10 blocks is going to do well.
Probably going to win. All right. Well, join us in the links in the description, and you can make your own picks. It's super easy and fun. All right. Quickly, High School National Invite 2026 now announced. It's going to be in Salem, Oregon, June 12th and 13th next year. Beautiful facility. It's run by a soccer club. They have one of, I think, 11 FIFA Pro certified turf fields. So like literally like it's like them and like the New England Patriots Stadium and the Atlanta Falcons Stadium that has this like elite certified turf. They also have a bunch of grass fields. They got a little stadium set up. So we're really excited to be out on the West Coast for the first time. Never been on the Pacific Coast. Just the second time in the West. So already a bunch of teams qualifying for the tournament, either by their finish last year. The boys Seattle Invite just took place because the Washington State boys season is in the fall. And congratulations to Albany out of California for winning that and locking up an HSNI bid very early this year. So Keith, should be a blast. It always is.
We always have so much fun at the tournament. The teams tend to have fun, even when things don't go our way, even when there's poor weather or field conditions, like whatever. The once we get playing, the teams bring it, and that's what makes it a joy.
Yeah, and we get to see the next generation of players a couple of years before they go on to dominate. And in some cases, in the same year. I mean, Nora Luloff looking awesome at HSNI and then killing it for Riot in the club season. So,
yeah, I mean, this is where people first started finding out about Sam Grossberg, about Nora Luloff. So, if you want to get the preview of a bunch of players you're gonna be talking about as you get into college season and probably down the line in club, HSNI is the place to be.
All right, we have something really cool to show you. This comes from over on Reddit from Knox, who took the World Games data and statistics that we pulled at UltiWorld. We mapped every single game, yardage, goals, assists, blocks, turnovers, all of it. And they took the data and they made some data visualizations. So we want to show you these. And it's just different ways of kind of looking at the tournament, looking at the players, who played well, how they built their lines. And we'll start with this. This is a kind of a map of where players were positionally based on their average receiving yards per touch on the y-axis and their average throwing yards per touch on the x-axis. And obviously this wide spread. And Knox basically decided to kind of cut it up into different things, created a hybrid section, created a handler zone, players who don't get a lot of receiving yards but do get a lot of throwing yards. And then vice versa, over in the top left quadrant, you see players who receive a lot of yards and have negative throwing yards. That's players like Joanna Erdman, Cammie Groom, Amy Zoe. So pretty cool, Keith. What do you think?
Yeah, if you're throwing a lot of resets, you're gonna end up dinged in that. But it is a cool way to visualize some of the stuff, and utilizing the yardage that we recorded and Edge in some of the other graphics that we may look at. It's the first time I've really heard of thinking of players as long field versus short field players based on whether they're getting their yardage in big chunks or whether they're doing it in small bits. I thought that was an interesting concept that I hadn't really heard of before, but I love seeing people mess around with the data and ways to explain what's going on the field.
I mean, to me, this is why yardage is such a vital statistic track when we're talking about Ultimate. And like the beauty of World Games is that because every single game, except some of the constellation games, were streamed, and you have such high quality players, like you can get this really rich data set over the course of 6 games that lets you actually look at stuff like this and start thinking about it. Because I've never seen a chart like this before, and thinking about a player like Quinn Snyder, the little orange box up in the kind of near the top left, right? Obviously, we know he's a cutter. And look at the receiving yards. I mean, he's I think the highest. Oh no, there's a player up there all the way at the top. Who is that? A Pigeon?
Angela Pigeon. I think you see that.
Angela Pigeon at 25 yards per touch. But like, think about Snyder and the fact that he's not really throwing upfield at all, and he's finishing right. That's the other thing. If players are finishers, they're getting zeros on those throws because there is no throw, right? So it's pretty cool, and you could check this whole post out and dig in deeper. Anything stand out to you, Keith?
Oh yeah, I mean, we've talked a little bit about some of the distribution across women matching players versus male matching players at the tournament, and there's a graphic kind of laying that out across different categories: goals, assists, edge score, touches, and it is interesting to see how that breaks out. And it's hard not to notice that the only team that basically led with their women matching players in almost every category is Colombia. I think there were 2 categories in which they weren't the most involved with their women matching players. And basically every category, they were over 50% their women matching players. And yeah, they have a unique environment, obviously, where they happen to have a team where their women matching players are incredibly talented. So it makes sense that strategically makes sense for them. But it is, I mean, most of the graph is leaning over towards the male matching players. And that's something that I know people have been talking about from that tournament.
Well, what's crazy to me, look at the throwing yards stats. All of the teams clustered in the same general range. And then Colombia, a complete outlier, really relying on their women as their throwers. You could have projected something like this going in, but the disparity there is huge, right? Most teams in that 20 to 30% range in terms of women's percentage of throwing yards on the team, and then Colombia at 65%. It's kind of shocking.
I know this is a little bit piling on, but you also look at that category combined with the one above it, turnovers, for Germany, who has the most women matching player turnovers, but 4th most male matching player throwing yards, which is kind of to me that's the Lev Kovalchuk stat, right? Like that.
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
We weren't throwing for a ton of yards and we were turning it over too much.
Absolutely. It's pretty interesting overall, like the spread, teams that relied on I think Edge really captures the overall impact. You can see balance on, the USA and the Australian roster. Colombia obviously leaning a little bit towards their women. Many other teams leaning more towards their men, particularly Germany and China. And Edge, again, is like an all-around metric that encompasses throwing, goals, assists, blocks, and turnovers in one metric. And it kind of values turnovers differently depending on how many turnovers there were in the game, which is, I think, an intuitive way to think about it, right? Like a really windy game, turnovers aren't that punitive. But if it's a super clean, offensive-driven game, if you have 3 turnovers, that's really, really bad. I think that stat captures it. Here's the next one. Metrics at positions. So this was the short and long for handlers, hybrids, and cutters. Now, again, this is Knox's interpretation of short and long and hybrid versus handler versus cutter, but really cool to see based on like the grid of average throwing and receiving yards, how the players stacked up within their categories.
Yeah, I mean, you could see the players that we've talked about as like standouts from the tournament way out in front. um, Thomas Edmonds and Paul Ben Venyen way out in front for the handler metrics. Interesting to think of Ben Venyen as a short handler when I think of his hucks as being a big part of his game, but he probably just threw so many or other types of passes throughout possessions to set up those hucks. Also see Sasha Płacikolski pretty high in that ranking for France as well. But yeah, I've also never seen a chart like this. Like, I appreciate that Knox brought a very new look to how we were looking at this data. Benji asks, what are S and L there? That is short and long, which is described more in depth in the post itself, and is better represented, I think, on the prior.
It's like if you get chunkier yardage, then you're going to be classified as a long player, somebody who's like catching hucks or throwing hucks. So you think about a player like Quinn Snyder, who's at the top of that long cut list over on the right-hand side. And then, as a short range cutter, you have Elliot Bonet. And like, obviously Elliot was still catching hucks, but he was also playing underneath a lot and doing a lot of more like, facilitating of the offense underneath. So he ends up in that category. Obviously, these are not like clean lines necessarily, but this is a really good visual look at like stylistically how things work, and that you can have huge impact at the handler position. I mean, I think the fact that you see the top players basically as handlers or hybrids tells you that like they can have a bigger impact on the game than a pure cutter. Because like those pure long cutters, yes, good, but they're not really impacting the game at the same level as somebody who's doing a lot of the throwing.
Certainly seems to be the case.
Do we have one more slide, or is that it? I think that might be it. So, we do have one more. Yes, this is the lines. So just trying to describe it for those who are listening to the podcast version. It's a offensive points played on the x-axis, defensive points played on the y-axis, and then plotting the players. So people who play pure defense are going to be in the top left, where they play a lot of defense and not much offense, and then vice versa for offensive players. And you can kind of see, I would say, focus on the colors here, because you can see how teams split their lines. The United States is blue, and they basically have all of their players dead center in this chart, except for Michael Ing, who played almost pure defense. He's in the top left. And then over down on the right, you had Rafi Hayes, who played almost pure offense. And then other teams, doing different kinds of things. Pretty cool.
Yeah, a good way to visualize how players were being utilized and the rotations that you can see teams like Colombia, way more distinct. Very few players in the middle for Colombia. Mostly they were running O&D as a comparison to what you were saying about the U.S.
And you can also kind of think about the players. Let's go back to the slide really quick, because I want to talk about one more thing. You can think about players who are on the kind of like if you think furthest away, like out and up and to the right, they played a lot of points. So Konrad Schlorer is out there, Lev Kowalczyk is out there, Kat Phillips, Leo Stangenek. So players who just generally played a lot of points further out and to the right, because they just got a lot of usage overall. So kind of cool to see that as well, and like where people ended up. Sad to have to see Britt Dos Santos down there, kind of the outlier on the lower left side, as of course she got hurt and could not continue playing. Sullivan Roble as well, and getting hurt and missing time.
Yeah, and you see their teammates who played more in their
as
stead.
a result. Yep. Yes, absolutely. All right. Let's see. We have now our mailbag question of the week. Keith, what do we got?
All right. So this is a long one, and it has to do with the format at Club Nationals. So it starts off with introducing the problem. Determining third place accurately. The current format does not adequately balance each quarter of the bracket. Not third place in the pools, excuse me, third place overall. You can lose 2 games all weekend, once in pool play and once in quarters, and do no better than 5th place. But having only lost to the first and second place team. In a year where third place goes to Worlds, this matters. So the solution here is going back to the old ways of power pools. How? Power pools A and B are comprised of the top 4 ranked teams and the 4 remaining region winners. Pools C and D are the 8 strength bid qualifiers and lowest ranked region winner if they got bumped out by a top 4 team. Top 2 teams in each power pool get a bye into quarters. The other 4 teams in power pools go into pre-quarters against 4 teams determined from the strength bid pools. And it lays out the exact format. The result, each quarter of the bracket becomes a lot more balanced due to the power pool simulating 1v1 crossovers. Barring weird upsets, all 3 teams that can make a case for the top 3 will make semis and therefore be in at least the third place game. And winning regionals becomes more meaningful. What do you think of this idea of returning to power pools, especially in Worlds years, to help more accurately capture the third best team of the tournament?
I can agree with the premise and disagree with the potential solution here. Going straight to power pools, which is what this is proposing, right? It's saying like begin the tournament with power pools that we are determining based on the rankings and pretty much exclusively the rankings. That just feels like it overweights the regular season a little too much. And I've already seen some people talking about this concept, and there are scenarios where a really good team doesn't get an opportunity to show how good they are in this system as well. Now, the reason this is even coming up is because third place actually matters a lot this year because it's for a World Ultimate Club Championship spot. And they're going to play the third place games on Sunday morning in order to determine those spots. So having a fair process to determine third place is important. I can see how the current system doesn't necessarily do that, right? You can end up getting crossed over. You basically lose 2 games and miss out on a chance to play for third because there's no play-in mechanism after quarters. So like until semis, like you have to make semis in order to get a chance at third place. So is it totally fair? No. Could they maybe consider changing the consolation structure in WUCC years to enable possibility that like all quarters teams have a chance to play for the third place? Maybe, but I'm not sure this is like really solving a huge problem.
It's potentially introducing new problems, right? Like anytime you're changing the format, you're going to introduce new problems. And what I wouldn't want to do is decrease the accuracy by which we find the number 1 best team in order to make sure that we're more accurately finding the third best team. Maybe in Worlds years that makes some sense, but in most years it doesn't. And I agree with you that I think this is a little too weighted on the rankings, which are particularly wonky this year. Because we've already talked about a bunch of the weird stuff that went on this year that led to kind of some weird rankings. But it's not like that couldn't happen in other years. So
it's just way too advantageous to be in the upper power pool, which could be decided because an actually really good team couldn't play with their World Games players. It just doesn't work.
And I think that
the idea of going back to power pools makes sense, but you'd have to do it in a more like Sarasota type style where you played more games and you started with regular pools and then you cut to power pools. Otherwise, I don't think it makes sense.
Well, in theory, more games is always going to lead to a more accurate outcome generally, right? Like the more we play, the more we get a better evaluation of the teams. But we also know that the costs are associated with that. Like it's pretty obvious. I think the current format places a big value on playing well in the bracket specifically. And yes. I think people like it that way. I mean, that is a traditional postseason structure in a lot of sports. You have to play well in the postseason, and in the actual elimination games. So I think that while it may lead to more variance, I actually think the excitement that you get from that is probably worth it. The high stakes.
I think you could definitely do a system where the quarters teams, if you lose in quarters, so there's four losers in quarters, right? They each play a crossover game with each other. The winners advance to play the losers of the semifinals, the two teams that lose in semifinals. And then the winners of those two games play the third place game. So there's like essentially a play-in to then play a crossover game with the semis losers. Like this would solve that problem, right? It's like not that complicated, but it does impact how they do the like flight consolation, pro flight, qualification, blah, blah, blah.
Couldn't you also end up with a
Maybe
team
that's
playing their 8th game to qualify for Worlds?
1, 2, 3.
I mean, you play 3 in
quarters,
pool play, you play your
quarters.
pre-quarter, you play your quarter, you lose, then you play
Then
3
you have
more
your
games.
crossover. Then you have 3 more. Yeah, it's a lot of games.
Yeah,
Maybe it's
I don't
just
know
too
the
many
teams
games. Fair. The solution would maybe be you do instead of regular pool play, you do clipped pools, but that has its own host of issues.
Yeah, famously uncontroversial clipped pools. Nobody in the Ulti-World staff has been berating clipped pools in the Discord for like a month.
Max Charles says we usually end up with more bids anyways. I did just ask somebody from WIFDIF, what are the odds the U.S. ends up with 4 bids instead of 3? And they said remote. This was a couple of weeks ago, but it's worth noting. The tournaments in Europe this year, a lot of teams are going to take their bids.
It's crazy. It's a World Tour. We're going to be thinking about World soon. Wow.
I know. That's going to do it for today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't miss our subscriber bonus segment where we make our hashtag the game picks. This is what it's all about. Got to do our analysis. Got to make our picks and hashtag the game. Keith, is the post up yet?
Big changes coming to the game this year. Big changes.
Really?
Yeah, find out about it first.
Get your bets in. Join us with the links in our fantasy Frisbee game. You can win an Ulti-World shirt just for playing. It's totally free. Link in the description on your podcast app or on the YouTube version. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, give us a review wherever you listen to the pod. Thank you so much. Next week, Club Nationals preview show, and we will be with you from San Diego all week long. For Keith Raynor, I'm Charlie Eisenhood. Thanks again to Danie Proby for stopping by. We will talk to you next week from California, right here on Deep Look.